in Washington. More wet weather in Washington. Mics are on. Following last night's rain-shortened D-backs win, it's a short turnaround with a 1:05 scheduled local start today. Damp and wet, but it didn't rain all that much this morning. Tarp's been on the field all day. But it's off right now. The D-backs battling the weather and the Nationals on Fox Sports Arizona. Greetings from Nationals Park and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly along the way. Well, in a major upset, it appears we're going to start this one on time. Whether we get the whole thing in or not is another story, but we'll see after last night's rain-shortened win. Bob, not short enough to stop Gene Segura from getting to 200 hits for the year. That's been the quest of the National League all season long. How do you stop Gene Segura? I mean, the numbers are fantastic for the season no matter what column you look at on the stat sheet. He needs 3 more runs to get to 100 on the season. Nice round numbers all around his bubblegum card this year. The one that amazes me the most, every month of the season he had 30 or more base hits. You want to talk about consistency, only Gene Segura and Dustin Pedroia have done that this year. So last night in the rain-shortened D-backs win for Gene, 3 at-bats, 3 hits. He's at an even 200, and now with 4 games left to go, he's 6 behind Gonzo's Diamondbacks record. You know, you get to this point of the season, especially the kind of season the Diamondbacks have had, most guys are ready to go home. I think Gene Segura wishes we had about 4 more months left in the season. Well, it'll be interesting to see if he can catch up to Gonzo's record. First of 4 remaining on the 2016 schedule. Set to go, Robbie Ray and Joe Ross. First pitch coming up next.
Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Double Jack Burger today, only at Jack in the Box. By Northern Arizona University. At NAU, we see possibility in every direction. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money. Sports Arizona is brought to you by Lone View Casino. Get in on big wins. By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. And by Gigablast, 100 times more powerful internet from Cox. Bring on tomorrow.
And first pitch from Joe Ross is a strike to Gene Segura, and we are underway under cloudy and damp skies here in Washington, D.C. The final road game of the 2016 season for the Diamondbacks. Joe Ross and Robbie Ray are pitching matchup. And Segura leads it off for the Diamondbacks at 319 and 20 homers. Seven hits in this series for Gene. 3 of them are home runs, and it's 1-2. And we'll be keeping a close eye on Segura, as we mentioned at the top of our broadcast, leading the National League with 200 hits. The Diamondbacks record is 206, set by Luis Gonzalez in 1999.
Gene had to use his speed last night on a couple of his base hits, had 2 infield hits, including a swinging bunt down the third baseline.
Still can't believe Gio Gonzalez picked that up.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It worked out. There are literally dozens of people attending the game. As you can imagine, with the very, very pessimistic forecast, there is a flood watch in effect right now until tomorrow morning. Not a whole lot of people turning out for this 105 local start. Full count on Segura, 3-2. But it's a small miracle, BB. We're able to start this one at 105.
We've been keeping an eye on the weather radar here locally today, and we got very fortunate. A ginormous blob of orange and red slid just to the east of the Washington, D.C. area. Fortunately, that one missed us, but there's a few more behind it. Hopefully, they'll miss us as well.
Fingers crossed. Nationals begin today with a 2-game edge over the Los Angeles Dodgers for home field in their National League Division Series. Dodgers lost at San Diego last night after the Nationals lost here to the Diamondbacks 3-0 in that rain-shortened game. So the Nationals are 2 up on the Dodgers with 4 to play for the 2 seed in the National League playoffs. And that means when those 2 meet, they would have home field starting on Friday.
It's been a rough go for the Nationals against the Dodgers this year. They're only 1-5. The one win came here at Nationals Park. They were swept at Dodger Stadium.
9th pitch of the at-bat to Gene Segura on the way from Joe Ross.
Get off the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe Ross will feature a heavy sinking fastball. Usually gets a lot of ground balls when he's down in the zone. Also has a real nasty late breaking slider, the younger brother of Tyson Ross of the San Diego Padres.
A 10-pitch at bat to start us off. We'll keep going. Diamondbacks faced Joe Ross last year. The only time they've ever seen him in his young career. He pitched very well, 6 innings. Gave up just 1 run on 5 hits, had 7 strikeouts. That was last August. Nationals beat the Diamondbacks in that ball game 8-3. That's along the right field line, and it's in the seats.
Yeah, much like last night, the wind howling in from right field. But with that big scoreboard in the second deck out there in right field, we're not really quite sure how that wind affects the play at field level. The wind comes in around the scoreboard and over the scoreboard, comes into the bowl. It might turn right around and blow back out to right field.
Joe Ross is your Arizona Ford starting pitcher. You saw the numbers there. 7-5 with an ERA just a tick under 3.5. This is just his 3rd start since July. He missed nearly 70 games with right shoulder inflammation. And he walks Segura to lead off the ball game. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Chip Hale's Diamondbacks.
What a great at bat for Gene Segura to start it off today. He'll be at second base. Chris Owings making his way to the plate once again at shortstop. Paul Goldschmidt down at first base. Jake Lamb at third. Brandon Drury in left field. Mitch Haniger, a late insertion into the lineup in center field. Moving Socrates Brito from center to right. Yasmani Tomas with a stiff neck today. Tuffy Gosowich doing the catching, and Robbie Ray, the lefty, on the mound.
There is Chris Owings back in the 2-hole at shortstop. Segura 31 stolen bases on the year. He got number 31 last night in the first inning. A double steal with Chris Owings after a couple of singles to lead off the ball game against Gio Gonzalez, who lasted only 3 2/3 last night. Ryan Zimmerman holding Segura on the bag at first, and Gio swings through that changeup. 0-1. Chris Owings, 278, 4 home runs. The 44 RBI is a career high. He's got 5 hits in the series. Well, one positive of working from the highest broadcast booth in professional or amateur sports is that you can rely on Bob and I for very accurate weather forecast, because we are in the weather. It's actually raining in the booth. There we are, and there's the game way down there. So we are literally in the clouds and amongst the raindrops here.
Yeah, we can predict the weather on the West Coast from up here.
I see you left your garage door open again. There's that Joe Ross 2-seam sinking fastball, and he's ahead of Chris Owings 1-2. Key for the Diamondbacks today, other than win the game, is complete the game. There is a scenario in which we would have to come back Monday and play this game if they can't get an official game in. If it matters in that home field advantage scenario between the Nationals and the Dodgers, they would need to play this game on Monday. D-backs finish up at home starting tomorrow with 3 against the Padres. 2-2 to Chris Owings.
Diamondbacks were very aggressive on the bases last night. They stole 3 bags. I don't think they'll be quite as aggressive against Joe Ross today. He's pretty quick to home plate. He's only allowed 1 stolen base, 2 caught stealing on the entire season.
Swing and bunt. Joe Ross picks it up. That'll move Segura to second, and that's the first out of the ball game. Our eye on defense for the Nationals, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Jason Worth once again in left field today. Trey Turner, who played second base last night, moves back to center field with Michael Taylor in right field today. It'll be Rendon, Espinoza, Defoe, and Zimmerman third to first across the infield, with Pedro Severino doing the catching for right-hander Joe Ross.
Diamondbacks able to put 1 run up on the board in the top half of the first inning in each of the last 2 games. And they have a chance to do that again here with Segura at second, 1 away for Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie hitting .299. He's got 23 home runs. 2 hits in the series, both singles. He knocked in 2 runs last night. Sliders in there for a strike. Joe Ross, much like Tyson Ross, his older brother, has a very good slider. Tyson's is a little bit bigger. It's more of a wipeout slider. Joe Ross's slider a little sharper, got a little more bite to it. There's the movement on that 2-seam sinker, trying to backdoor him, have it break back in toward the right-hand hitter. But he missed, and it's 1-1. Already a 20 pitch first for Ross. Pedro Severino behind the plate today. A lot of eyes on that Dodger-Padre game here after our game was shortened last night. Padres won it. Their outstanding rookie just called up this month, Hunter Renfroe, hit the first ever ball onto the roof of the Western Metal Supply Company building in the left field corner. And Hunter Renfroe is a name you'll be hearing a lot over the next decade or so. Segura halfway to third. Joe Ross just kind of looked him back. I mean, Gene was good 15-20 feet off the bag.
Yeah, you could hear on our field, Mike, everybody in that first base dugout yelling, "Step off, step off."
Didn't lose his head. 1-2 to Goldie. Two-seamer missed, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Popped up behind the Nationals dugout and out of play. They're really making Joe Ross throw some pitches in this top of the first. 23 pitches, and he's only recorded 1 out. Crowd still filing in. They're coming in from the train station just down the street. Changeup lost the handle, and it's a full count, 3-2. So a whole bunch of foul balls against Joe Ross so far, and he's gone to a full count on 2 of the first 3 D-backs hitters, with Jake Lamb on deck in the cleanup spot.
Getting a little moist in the booth here.
All of your devices are getting wet over there.
Everything's getting wet. Yeah, the wind kind of turned a little bit, and all of a sudden that mist that's falling on the field is falling in the press box.
It's like being broadcasting a game from a fishing boat.
That's something we ought to look into.
You're going to need that iPad for the flight home. Goldie strikes out. 2 down. Well, BB, it's time now for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Well, this is pretty much the key to the game every day, but especially today with impending weather headed this way. Play fast. Last night the Diamondbacks scored first, held on as the rains came later in the ball game. Be nice to do the same thing here today. Score early, play fast.
Had a 1 hour and 55-minute game last night. That was the official time. We played 5+ innings. Tarp came on the field after 1 out in the top of the 6th, and it finished up 3-0 Diamondbacks. Segura at second, 2 out for Jake Lamb. Jake hitting .249, still trying to get to 30 homers. That'd be really nice if he could get to 3-0 by the end of the year. He's at 90 RBIs. 3 hits in the series. He's doubled, homered, and walked 3 times. He's also scored 3 runs. Trying to get Segura home from second with 2 outs. Nationals have the shift on, and it's 1-1. That changeup missed.
As I mentioned in the open, Gene Segura sitting on 97 runs scored right now. It'd be nice to get him on the plate here in the first inning, not only to take an early lead, but get Gene one closer to that magical 100 runs scored number.
Well, his numbers at the end of the year, people are going to notice them and go, wow,
is right.
What a season. There's that good Joe Ross slider, and it's 1-2. Pitch number 30 in the first inning on the way from Joe Ross. Not good for a guy coming off shoulder inflammation that kept him out almost 70 games. 2-2. Don't see a whole lot of four-seam fastballs from Joe Ross. It's almost all two-seam sinkers, as Bob mentioned earlier. That one missed upstairs. A two-seamer will break in on the right-hand hitter and away, down and away from the left-hand batter. Slider is fouled off. The Nationals got Joe Ross in that same deal that brought them Trey Turner. So that one's working out pretty well. Everything wide open on that left-hand side for Jake Lamb.
And for Gene Segura as well. There's absolutely no way in the world Anthony Rendon, there he goes, he's just going to walk to third base now.
Joe Ross just watched him the whole way. There was nothing he could do. That's a stolen base for Segura, number 32.
All right.
And Lamb strikes out on a changeup. 2 strikeouts in the inning, but a whole lot of pitches for Joe Ross. Robbie Ray coming up. Starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks, it's the former national draftee Robbie Ray. He was going to pitch at the University of Arkansas, then was drafted by Washington in the 12th round in the 2010 draft. Spent 4 seasons in their organization, and now here he is pitching against them at Nats Park.
Looking to bounce back after a rough outing against the Orioles earlier on this road trip. Had back-to-back really good outings against Colorado and Los Angeles. Using his fastball, attacking the strike zone against that power-laden Orioles lineup. He tried to trick his way through there, throwing lots of sliders and change-ups, and moving his fastball around, and it didn't work particularly well for him.
Trey Turner leads it off. That pitch is popped up just behind first base. Goldie fighting the raindrops and the wind, and he's got it. And that's the first out. Let's take a look at the lineup for Dusty Baker's National League East champion Washington Nationals.
Trey Turner just popped out to lead off the ball game for the Nationals. Wilmer Defoe at the plate now at second base. Jason Worth will be out in left field. Anthony Rendon at third base. Ryan Zimmerman back in the lineup at first base. Danny Espinosa striking out at shortstop today. Michael Taylor in right field. Pedro Severino doing the catching, and Joe Ross on the mound.
Wilmer Defoe shows bunt, pulls back, and takes a ball. He's hitting .292. He has walked twice and scored a run in this series. Called up for the minor leagues at the end of July. He's got good speed. He's a pesky type of hitter up there, and he can play a lot of infield positions. Spent most of this year with their AA team in Harrisburg. Hit .259 there with 6 homers and stole 28 bases. It's a day for umbrellas at the ballpark. Two hopper right to Chris Owings at shortstop. 2 outs. Our eye on defense for the D-backs. Sponsored by Nationwide Vision Center.
Brandon Drury out in left field has looked much more comfortable defensively on this road trip. Mitch Haniger, as I mentioned, a late insertion into the lineup in center field, moving Socrates Brito over to right field. Lamb and Owings on the left side of the infield. Segura and Goldschmidt on the right side. Tuffy Gosawish getting a start behind the plate for lefty Robbie Ray.
2 down for Jason Worth, the left fielder. 0 for 8 in the series. He has walked twice and struck out twice. Fastball is strike 1. Worth batting .247. He's got 21 homers. You can tell it's wet. Just look at Jason Worth's hair. Doesn't have that flowing quality that it usually has. That's out of play. Goldie, what a play! The wind blew it back in front of the Nationals dugout. It got up in that hard wind that's blowing in from right field. Kept it playable for Goldie, and he kept his feet under him. What a catch. That'll end the bottom of the first. Go, go, Goldie.
We are literally soaking in the final road game of the season. Chip Hale was happy with the way his team's been dealing with these conditions. No BP yesterday. A nice big cage area, guys, here where the guys can get ready for the game. But some fans were also asking me, hey, what do the guys do during the rain delay? And even with all the devices now electronically, honestly, Chip Hale was saying you still see the guys just playing cards. And I was noticing a lot of guys just talking to each other about, you know, baseball and life. And so some things never change. Some guys go into the weight room and they might just get on the bike to stay warm, but D-backs, according to Chip, have been handling it real well.
So have you, Jody. I've got to say that's quite an outfit you've put together.
Well, I'm getting the most out of the poncho because I don't really have much use for this in Arizona. So
good thing. The intrepid Jody Jackson.
Absolutely.
Brandon Drury leads off the second against Joe Ross.
Big tip of the cap not only to Jody but to our entire crew, guys, out in the elements throughout this series. They've really been doing yeoman's work. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, they come in, put all the rain gear on, and then head out into the elements. 275 and 15 homers for Drury. Had an RBI double in last night's rain-shortened ball game. In the hole at third for Rendon.
Throws him out, one away. Well, Yasmani Tomas, as Bob mentioned, a late scratch. He's got a stiff neck again, so Mitch Haniger, a late addition. He went into center field, and Socrates Brito has moved over to right. Mitch at .219 and 4 homers. He homered here Monday in the series opener. That's his only hit so far. Change up inside, tied him up. 0-2. Sinker, change up, slider from Joe Ross. Severino wants that one up. Severino back there, considered a very good defensive catcher and a good pitch framer. Very athletic behind the plate. Moves around real well back there. Joe Ross already at 40 pitches, 25 strikes. He's only got 4 outs.
Now, receiving and blocking and throwing, I think they'll be fine with the combination of Lobaton and Severino going into the postseason. But we've talked about it ever since Wilson Ramos went down. They're really going to miss his bat and his leadership.
Yeah, they're already going to miss Steven Strasburg in the division series against the Dodgers. Now they won't have their all-star catcher for the rest of the year, Wilson Ramos, who tore his ACL in the series opener Monday here. The 3-2 to Mitch Haniger. He got a hanging slider but missed it. Ross really hung that one. But Dusty will figure it out. He always does. Look at where this pitch is.
Just didn't take the break. It's kind of spun up there. That's the one they call the cement mixer. It spins, but it doesn't go anywhere.
They go somewhere when you hit them, that's for sure. But Mitch couldn't connect that time. Another one on 3-2. Went to the sinker and missed his second walk of the ball game. A 1-out base runner now for Socrates Brito. Brito at 182. He's got 3 homers. He lined out to shortstop in his only at bat in the series. That was Tuesday night.
I mentioned earlier it might be tough to run on Joe Ross. He's very quick to the plate, hasn't given up a lot of stolen bases this year, but that doesn't mean you can't run. Probably better served playing hit and run against a guy like Joe Ross, who gives up so many ground balls. I think back to the days facing Greg Maddux. We used to drive him crazy. Every time we got a runner on base, we'd hit and run. Even if it was a pitcher on base or a pitcher at the plate, it didn't matter. Because if you didn't get runners started, you were just going to bang into double plays all afternoon long.
And that's how Tyson Ross succeeds. These guys are very similar, the two brothers. Tyson Ross, an excellent ground ball pitcher, relies on that double play ball and that big slider, just like Joe Ross does.
How often the brothers compare notes. So obviously Tyson Ross has seen the Diamondbacks a lot more than Joe Ross has. Only one start against the D-backs in Joe's career. I wonder if they got on the phone last night and went over this Diamondbacks lineup, getting a little advice from Big Brother.
Big Brother's been hurt all year for San Diego, but he's certainly seen plenty of the Diamondbacks. Popped him up behind second base. Danny Espinosa looking up into the raindrops, and he's got it for out number 2. Start behind the plate today for Tuffy Gozowicz. Tuffy 155 and 3 homers. He is hitless in his 2 previous starts on this road trip, one in San Diego and
one in Baltimore. He's got Mitch Haniger at first base and 2 outs. A little more than a mist. It's probably a consistent drizzle, but it's not letting up, and it's blowing across from the right field foul pole to the left field foul pole. That's what some of the cameras look like. Missed on a slider, and it's 1-1. But you get that ball high up in the air, and it's going to get into that wind. And the fielder looking up into that steady drizzle. Anything could happen.
Well, Dusty Baker managed and played at Candlestick Park, so I'm sure his advice to his defense was everybody chase everything on a day like this.
Another slider, and it's 1-2 on Tuffy. Joe Ross so far has walked 2, struck out 2. 50 pitches, 31 strikes. Little dribbler to shortstop. Espinosa flips to Defoe for the force on Haniger, and that's the inning. No score at Nationals Park. Raindrops here in D.C. No score Diamondbacks and Nationals, bottom second. And our greater coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. National League wildcard picture is as follows. It's the Mets and the Giants right now. The Cardinals only a game back. They host the Reds. And the Giants are at home against the Rockies.
Johnny Cueto pitching for the Giants tonight, looking for win number 18 on the season.
Nationals have already clinched the National League East. And they will play the Dodgers in the division series starting a week from tomorrow. The only question is, where's game one? Right now, Washington with a 2-game edge on LA for home field with 4 to play. Anthony Rendon, the third baseman, batting cleanup. 272 and 19 homers. He's got 3 hits in the series, including that 3-run home run that was the difference Tuesday night. Robbie's ahead 0-2. Rendon's had a big second half. 296 and 10 homers since the All-Star break. 51 RBIs in the second half of the year. That's the third most in the National League. Out in front of that slider, and it's still 0-2. No Bryce Harper, no Daniel Murphy again for Dusty Baker today. Both those guys have injuries. Harper's got a sore thumb, and Murphy has a sore glute muscle, which is the most polite way I can think to put that. His butt hurts.
Pain in the butt.
Yeah, pain in the butt. So they're going to give both those guys as much opportunity as they can to heal before the postseason. Called strike 3. Fastball at 95, and Rendon is caught looking. First strikeout for Robbie Ray.
Field and Colbert has a tendency to call that high strike, and this time a 95-mile-an-hour fastball right at the top of the zone freezes Anthony Rendon. Strike zone should work to Robbie's advantage today because he does elevate that fastball in the mid to upper 90s quite a bit. And if Field and Colbert is going to give him that pitch at the top of the zone, that could really work in his favor today.
Ryan Zimmerman back in the lineup at first base after the night off last night. 217 and 15 home runs. He has singled twice in the series, 2 for 7. It's up in the elements. Jake Lamb near the third base bag, drifting into foul ground. It's in the wind, and Jake stays with it. 2 outs. That is not nearly as easy as it looked.
Keep your feet moving. Just when you think you're camped underneath a high pop-up on a day like this, you're going to have to make an adjustment at the very end, and Jake realizes that quickly, gets over near that warning track to make the play.
And that's exactly what happened on the ball that Goldie caught in front of the Washington dugout. You can see Jake had to move, well, maybe a good 15 feet at the last moment. And the same thing happened on that ball that Goldie caught. That was a good 5-10 rows back, but it got up in that wind and blew right back to him. He made a tremendous play to end the bottom of the first. Here's Danny Espinosa, the shortstop. Espinosa, 208, the 23 homers, a career high. 0 for 8 in the series with 5 strikeouts. Switch hitter batting from the right-hand side. It's it right to Chris Owings. 6 up, 6 down for Robbie Ray. We've completed 2 innings in D.C. No score, the D-backs and the Nationals.
Scoreboard so far. Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Not quite wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald weather here, but the drizzle continues in D.C. as we start the third. Robbie Ray against Joe Ross. You a big Gordon Lightfoot fan by any chance?
Not huge. I like some of the stuff that he did. Although our executive producer when I worked in Chicago at WGN, Bob Vorwald, knows every word to every Gordon Lightfoot song.
Well, why wouldn't he? Why is that exactly?
I'm not sure. I really don't know.
The wind in the wire made a tattletale sound as the waves broke over the railing.
Oh, see, you and Bob Vorwald.
That's just kind of a day it is. On the big lake they call Gitchagumi.
I prefer to look at this as liquid sunshine.
Right on along the riverbank here, in fact. You can see the Capitol Dome from where we are. You can see Wyoming from where we are. 2-2 on Robbie Ray. Well, a lot of foul balls against Joe Ross. It's really driving his pitch count up. Already at 56, and he's only recorded 6 outs.
Yeah, it's kind of unusual to see as many foul balls in the air as we've seen. Gene Segura fouled several balls to the right side, high in the air, out of play. A guy that throws a sinker slider, everything moving down, you would expect to see some foul balls like that.
Well, that's another good example. That slider up and, you know, belt high and on the hands. He's not keeping the ball down today. And it's costing him some long innings. And in the meantime, Robbie Ray has been tremendous. 2 9-pitch innings, 6 up, 6 down for Robbie. There's that sinker, his 3rd strikeout. Let's go down to Jody.
Thinking about getting that 200th hit last night for Gene. He said, look, I give a lot of the credit to Luis Mercedes, who helped him change his hands, lowering his hands in the offseason. He said he talked to him last night. Luis just congratulated him. He's also kind of a spiritual mentor for Gene as well. He has the ball, guys.
Oh.
Hate to see that.
We've seen it way too often this year. Now it's very wet out there, so let's give Joe Ross the benefit of the doubt. That's a slider. You can see where Severino set up, but
man, had to go matrix on that one. I don't know how that ball missed his head. I don't know how it missed his bat.
Yeah. Oh, that's a little payback. It's under the glove of Espinosa. And hit number 201 on the season for Gene Segura. That's his 8th hit in this series. And he's now 5 shy of Gonzo's Diamondbacks record.
Hey, you done messed up, Joe. Gene Segura walked in his first at bat after a lengthy battle. That pitch right at his head. A little bit of a wake-up call for a guy with 201 hits on the season now.
And remember, Segura literally stole 3rd walking against Ross back in the 1st after he walked to lead off the ball game. Ross at 60 pitches, 38 strikes. Here's Chris Owings. 0 for 1. Shows bunt, pulls back, it's ball 1.
Good idea on a soggy, wet afternoon. Put that ball on the grass in the infield, force one of the defenders for the Nationals to come in and make a barehanded play. You never know what might happen. Now Gene with that stolen base back in the 1st inning. I believe that's 32 on the season for Gene.
Yep.
He probably very easily could have had 40 this season had there not been so many games where the Diamondbacks were either way behind or way ahead early in the game and the running game was shut down.
A lot of lopsided games both ways, like Monday's big D-backs win here. But Segura just the 3rd player in Diamondbacks history with at least 20 home runs and 30 steals. Eric Burns was the first in 2007. A.J. Pollock did it last year, and now Gene Segura in 2016. 2-1 on CO.
Like the list. Gene Segura is the 14th player with 200 or more hits, 20 or more homers, and 30 or more stolen bases. How about the first 3 guys on the list? Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, and Lou Brock.
Bobby Bonds on that list. Jacoby Ellsbury the last to do it 5 years ago. Owings knocks it into center. A couple of 1-out singles against Ross will bring up Paul Goldschmidt. Another hit for Chris Owings. That's his 6th hit of the series.
Ross just got a piece of that one. The slider working its way outside. Chris really gets some extension on that one, just off the fingertips of Ross's glove and on into center field for a base hit.
Goldie 2 RBIs last night. He steps up with 2 on and 1 out. He struck out his first time up. Segura at second and Owings at first. Slider is in there for strike 1. Oh, Segura's off the bag again. Same thing happened last time he was at second and he stole third walking. But at one point in that sequence, he was a good 20 feet off the bag. First time Joe Ross just looked him back. That time he threw over.
Yeah, Gene was anticipating Joe Ross turning his head back toward home plate and was going to just take off for third base, but Ross just kept looking at him. Once again, Gene had to freeze and get back to the base.
We talk all the time about Dave McKay, the first base coach, who always has something on every pitcher. Sometimes it's a move to first, but oftentimes something that we overlook a lot, it's a move to second base. He might not have a good move to second, but might have a good move to first.
Or consistently does something on his delivery to the plate that you can read real easily from second base. Well, Dave McKay, I know you've probably seen it down in the coach's room. He's got a little laundry list on the wall that things that he checks off when he looks at an opposing pitcher. His head, does he inhale or exhale? Where does his glove set? Does something move first? If so, what is it that moves first when he goes home? What moves first when he comes to first base? And puts it all in that computer between his ears and comes up with a game plan for the D-backs base runners.
Again, that's the second time to Goldie he's tried to backdoor that two-seam sinker. Started out in the left-hand batter's box, then it breaks in toward the right-hand batter and just catches the corner, but he's missed with it a couple of times, and it's 2-2.
Well, to his credit, if you're going to miss with that pitch, you better miss farther off the plate, because if it tails back over the heart of the plate, that is a real hittable pitch for Goldie.
Drive it to right center. In the air to center field. Trey Turner's out there in the elements. Yeah, that wind is really whipping in from behind the right fielder across toward the left field foul pole. It is really coming in here, bringing that rain and drizzle with it.
Yeah, Turner just started jogging in like it was going to be a routine medium depth fly ball and ended up on a dead sprint toward the infield to make the catch.
Anything in the air today is not a sure out until it's in the glove. 70 pitches for Ross, 44 strikes. Here's Jake Lamb, who struck out to win the first. 2 on and 2 out here in the third. Jake drives one into right field. Matt Williams will wave Segura. Here's the throw from Taylor, and it's not in time. 2-out RBI hit for Jake Lamb. That's his 91st run batted in, and it's 1-0 Diamondbacks.
That ball was hit so hard I didn't know if Matt Williams was going to have a chance to wave Gene Segura home. Jake Lamb just barrels up a slider out over the plate, a one hopper that kind of handcuffs the right fielder out there about 250 feet from home plate. And the throw just far enough up that third baseline. Gene able to get in with the first run of the game.
Chris Owings into third, Lamb at first, 1-0. And here's Brandon Drury, who grounded out his first time up. There's that Joe Ross sinker, and it's 0-1. Drury had an RBI double last night. And a couple of hits, including a double and an RBI Monday in the opener. He's got Owings at third and Lamb at first. 2 outs and a run in. Just foul right behind Chris Owings. CO with some quick feet down there.
You mentioned that double by Brandon Drury in the ball game last night against Gio Gonzalez. One of his better at bats on this road trip. Really waited on a slow breaking ball on the outer part of the plate and drove it out to the gap in right center field.
Yeah, this is going like Gio Gonzalez's start last night. Gonzalez threw 100 pitches and only lasted 3 2/3. Ross is on that same pace. And he strikes out Drury with a high sinker and strands 2. But Jake Lamb's RBI single gets the D-backs a 1-0 lead. With MLB.TV Premium, you can watch every out-of-market game live in HD on more than 400 supported devices and enjoy a free subscription to At That Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Check out MLB.TV. Michael A. Taylor leads off the third against Robbie Ray. Taylor 216. He's got some power, 7 homers. Struck out in his only at bat as a pinch hitter Monday in the opener. Robbie Ray now with a 1-0 lead. He's been listening to your Valley Honda dealer. Key of the game, play fast.
Well,
Robbie a 9-pitch first and a 9-pitch second.
Good that Robbie's listening because Joe Ross certainly isn't.
And he's ahead of Taylor 0-2. Called strike 3. Looks at a fastball. Second strikeout for Robbie Ray. 1 down.
Talk about driving a ball down to the bottom of the zone. That's what Robbie does right here. Gets on top of that pitch and pounds it in there.
Working to his strength, the catcher Pedro Severino. 7 for 21 at the plate this year. A homer and 3 RBIs. He's hitless in 2 at-bats in the series. Severino's only played 13 games all year.
Spent most of the season at AAA Syracuse, where he hit .271 with 2 home runs. He gets into one here in the air toward the left field corner. And that ball is going to get through the wind and the rain and get out of here. Pedro Severino, his second of the year, and we're tied at 1. You thought the wind, it's blowing in so strongly from right field, might take that one foul down the left field line, but it held up. And it's a 1-1 ball game.
We were hoping the wind would push that one foul. Another fastball down and in. This time Severino gets the barrel on it, hit it high in the air. That's why I thought the wind might affect it a little bit more, but easily stays fair, well back into the left field bleachers.
The pitcher, Joe Ross. 23rd home run of the year given up by Robbie Ray. This is his 32nd start.
I think Robbie Ray is always going to be the kind of pitcher that gives up his share of home runs, maybe a little more than his share, because he does throw so many fastballs. And I don't really mind, it's just my own opinion, if he gives up a home run on a fastball. I'd rather see that than trying to finesse a guy and hang a changeup or hang a breaking ball in the middle of the plate and have that get hit out of the ballpark. Go with your strength, and if the other guy gets a barrel on it, well, go after the next guy.
Major league hitters who go up there looking for fastballs and get one, sooner or later they're going to hit it out.
We've heard it said for years in this game, the good pitchers tend to give up home runs. Curt Schilling used to give up a boatload of home runs every year. Jim Palmer, we just saw in Baltimore.
Hey, Max Scherzer's leading the league right now, and he got a chance to win 20 games. He'll start on Sunday for the Nationals against Miami.
Guys that throw a lot of strikes and have a good fastball tend to give up more home runs.
Trey Turner popped up to lead off the ball game for Washington. Saw Turner at second base last night. He's back in center field today. His natural position is shortstop. But the way he hits, they'll find a spot for the bat. They had a need in center field, and it's worked out very well. And hold up on the slider, and it's 0-2. Dusty Baker has watched Trey Turner since August 23rd, just over a month, hit .379. Went back to the slider and just somehow did get a piece of it. Turner with 5 hits in the series. He's doubled. He's drove in 2 runs. That was Monday. He's stolen 2 bases. He's also been caught twice. And he drives one out to Drury and left. And that's the end of the inning. But Pedro Severino's second of the season is tied it at 1. Tie ball game of the 4th inning. Saturday college football doubleheader kicks off on Fox. 1:30 Pacific time. Oklahoma faces TCU. They're the Horned Frogs. Then at 5:30, it's ASU and USC, all streaming live on Fox Sports Go. How about that ASU comeback last week? That was nuts. They were down like 1,000,000 points and ended up winning the game.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Mitch Haniger, who walked his first time up, will lead off the 4th against Joe Ross. I saw you in between commercials there, checking the old iPad. Let's get the Bob Brenly AccuWeather forecast.
Yeah,
what do you got?
We're golden. Just more of this misty, windy conditions probably for the next hour and a half or so.
And then what?
And then the apocalypse.
Keep the game, play fast.
There are colors on the weather map coming up from down south that I've never seen before.
Uh-oh. Are we going to be able to take off?
Sure. These planes are made to take off.
That's
and
true.
land.
Hopefully. We're going to need both. Take off, eh? Espinosa at shortstop. Wild throw, and Zimmerman tried to make the swipe tag. Haniger got there first. Manny Gonzalez, the first base umpire. Zimmerman pleading his case with Field and Culbreth. See if did Haniger beat him to the bag or did he just miss the tag? Let's see. Throw got there first.
Kind of tough to tell from that angle.
And it doesn't look like the Nationals are going to challenge. Hold on, yeah, you're right, they are. So Manny Gonzalez and Field and Culbreth will put in a call to New York. Looked like the Nationals had a pretty good case there, at least from that first angle we saw. And they've just shown it on the video board here.
That is one time if you recognize it quickly enough where it is okay to slide into first base. If that first baseman has to come off the bag for a high throw, especially toward home plate where the only play he's going to have is to apply a tag, that's one situation where you don't mind a guy sliding into first base.
Just slide feet first. How about a nice hook slide into first? No broken hands or fingers that way. But that first angle we showed you is awfully close. It's hard to tell. That's the best look. Dave McKay and Ryan Zimmerman chatting it up down there.
Joe Ross has thrown a ton of pitches in this ball game already. Oh, they called him out at first.
Yeah, he did.
I was just going to say, rather than just playing some catch with one of his infielders or even playing catch with his catcher or even throwing off the mound just to stay loose during that review, but he was just standing out on the mound.
A 6-3 putout retires Haniger to lead off the 4th, and that brings up the right fielder Socrates Brito. Brito popped up his first time up. Socrates trying to get the bat going here to finish off the year. He's 6 for 35 since his minor league recall at the beginning of this month. Joe Ross threw 3 1/3, about to throw his 80th pitch of the ball game. $80 pitches, 51 strikes, 1-1 on Brito. Sinker belt high again. He's leaving that pitch up. But Brito can't connect. Another case of Joe Ross just not getting that ball down. Diamondbacks have really yet to take advantage after a 32-pitch first inning. He only faced 4 batters in that first inning. A walk and 2 strikeouts. One and 2 on Socrates. Talked about how Joe Ross likes to throw that backdoor 2-seam sinker to righties. That was the front door 2-seamer to the lefty, trying to sneak it in there and catch the strike zone on the inside. Along another slider. Drives one to Taylor in right field. 2 outs. Tuffy Gozawish now. Tuffy hit into a fielder's choice to end the second. Tuffy's 3rd start behind the plate on this road trip. He started a game in San Diego and in Baltimore. And he looks at ball 1.
When you're a backup catcher, you look at the schedule and you try to figure out where you might get starts.
You bet.
Yeah, you know, travel day game after a night game. We're facing a tough righty that day. You know, well, he's caught 12 days in a row or whatever it is. He's going to need a day off. And
did you do that in Toronto?
No. I never got to play in Toronto.
Things never got that bad.
No, jeez. Well, they played me a little bit early and realized it probably wasn't the best thing for the team.
This is an exhibition stadium type weather here today.
Yeah, really it is.
Severino wants it down and away. Hold it a bit.
Yeah, very early on in my career, I was part of a platoon with Milt May, who was a left-handed batter. So it was, you know, it was pretty easy to look at the probable starters for an upcoming series. And well, we're getting Tim Lawler in San Diego. He's a lefty, so I'll probably start that game. We'll look ahead to the next series down at Dodger Stadium. We got Fernando and Jerry Royce. I'll probably get 2 starts in L.A.
Yeah, but you're a kid then. You're
yeah.
Counting every calendar day. When you get later in the career, you're probably, well, I guess I got to catch this game.
Bench me or trade me.
Good day for a hot dog. Anything hot today. 3-2 to Tuffy Gozawish. Drop that sinker in there for his 5th strikeout, and Joe Ross works his first 1-2-3 inning. We're all tied at 1 in D.C. 3-1 ball game. Hey fans, the D-backs 2017 schedule is now available. You can become a season ticket holder, and you'll get the best seats for the lowest prices. You'll get access to exclusive events, discounts on concessions and merchandise, and a whole lot more as a D-backs season ticket holder. You can learn more about getting season seats for 2017 and check out that schedule at dbacks.com. We'll see you at the ballpark. Wilmer Defoe leads off the fourth against Robbie Ray. Defoe grounded out his first time up.
There's something wrong here.
Uh-oh, what happened?
He got the wrong helmet on.
Yeah, good call.
Defoe's a switch hitter. He's got his left-handed helmet on. He just realized it.
And that kind of day. That's embarrassing.
Yeah. That's why some switch hitters wear the double flaps. Terry Pendleton used to always wear the double flap helmet. That way you don't have to carry two. You don't have confusion like we just had here with Wilmer Defoe.
You see Jed Lowry wears a double flap. I think that would be easier. Does it look that bad? It looks a little league to it, I guess.
Yeah, that's a minor league thing.
This is hit pretty well. Right center field. Brito on the run. And he runs it down. Socrates Brito deep in right center. And there's one down to the fourth. Diamondback outfielders have been doing that the whole series long. A lot of times it's been Mitch Haniger. That time Socrates Brito.
Yeah, may have gotten an assist from that wind that's been blowing the ball all over the field today. Just does keep that one in front of the barrier for Socrates Brito.
Yeah, that was right into the teeth of that wind, blowing in hard from right center.
You know, and talking about outfield play, and we mentioned it going to break, that last out of the third inning, a line drive by Trey Turner into left field, and Brandon Drury made a nice catch running, coming straight in toward the infield. And I mentioned to you that earlier this year, he would have held his ground and played it on a hop, because he was so unsure of himself out there in the outfield. But he's getting much more comfortable, taking better lines to the ball, and made a nice aggressive play on that sinking line drive.
Yeah, he's played very deep out there in left all year long just to make sure balls don't get behind him. And you're right, he's taken some very conservative jumps. A lot of balls have landed in front of him for hits that a regular outfielder would catch, but that's not his position. He's a third baseman and a second baseman. But you're right, he's really picked it up lately. Most of that just confidence?
Confidence and working with Dave McKay. I'm a big believer in Dave McKay, not only as a great base running coach, but also a great outfield coach. I told the story many times. Alfonso Soriano, who might have been the worst fielding outfielder in all of baseball, was turned into an average outfielder by Dave McKay in Chicago. Had him out on the field early every day, working on fundamentals, working on his footwork, how his head moved, how everything worked together in the outfield, and Soriano became a serviceable left fielder.
And sometimes for guys, that's the goal.
Yeah,
just
that's enough.
Make him not terrible. Just make the routine plays. Changeup missed, and Jason Worth is ahead 3 balls and a strike. He popped up his first time. 40 pitches for Robbie, 26 strikes. First walk of the ball game, and Worth's aboard with 1 out for Anthony Rendon. Robbie has walked 1, struck out 3. He's given up just 1 hit. That was the Severino homer in the third that tied it. He struck out Rendon looking to lead off the second. Fastball is strike 1. Wind in the booth has picked up a bit. The left-hander Sean Burnett warming up in the Nationals bullpen. Rendon knocks it into left center field. Jason Worth will head for third. A walk and a single with 1 out for Washington. They're on the corners for Ryan Zimmerman. Second hit for Washington against Robbie Ray. Zimmerman popped up in his first at bat. Worth at third and Rendon at first with one out. Zimmerman 2 hits in the series, both singles. Out in front of a slider, and it's 0-1. Ryan Zimmerman has not hit the ball at all here at Nats Park this year. 186 at home. 247 on the road. His on-base percentage at home this season is under 240. Ryan Zimmerman just turned 32 years old yesterday. And the night off for his birthday. Didn't have to play in that rain-shortened game last night. Hitters count here 2-1. Robbie's command getting away from him here in the fourth inning. A walk and a single, and now behind on Zimmerman. 3 balls and a strike with Danny Espinosa on deck. Crowd, such as it is, starting to perk up now. Kept trying to go inside, but just couldn't find it. And the bases are loaded with 1 out. Second walk in the inning. And this has bitten Robbie on more than one occasion this year. He'll be rolling along and pitching very well, and suddenly, as Mike Butcher comes out, everything just gets away from him.
We've got a good guy to get back into this inning with Danny Espinosa, who's had all kinds of issues just making contact with the thrown ball, not only this series but this season.
Espinosa second in the National League in strikeouts, and he has struck out at least 1 time in 17 consecutive games. He grounded out his first time up. Jason Worth, after a walk, is the runner at third. Rendon singled. He's at second. A base on balls put Zimmerman at first. Bases full, 1 out. Fastball is in there. Strike 1. Espinosa 0 for 9 in the series. He's hitting only 168 since the All-Star break. There's a bouncer. Owings will have to charge and try and get one. They do, but Worth scores, and the Nationals take the lead. No chance for a double play ball there. Just hit too slowly. And it's 2-1 Washington.
Just Just a little chopper to the left side. CO does a nice job just to get Espinosa at first base right there, and in the process, Worth scores the go-ahead run in the game. They get a double play. One of the things you need is a hard hit ball. Anything hit slowly is going to allow those runners too much time.
So it's Rendon at third. Zimmerman at second, 2 outs, and Michael A. Taylor is the hitter. He struck out his first time up. Base hit. This will score 2 and make it 4-1 Nationals. Jumped on the first pitch.
Robbie frustrated with himself out there on the mound. Thought he should have made a defensive play right there. Ball was hit fairly hard right back to the mound. Looked like it hit off of Robbie's glove and on into center field for a couple of RBI. Not a bad pitch. Fastball down there at the knees. Gets the ball on the ground, unfortunately. Put it in a bad spot.
The catcher, Pedro Severino. Taylor's got very good speed. He's stolen 13 bases this year.
I like that. You may remember early this season, pretty much all season, Robbie Ray with that quick step-off move, and he would always show it right away. This time a slow step-over move that time, hopefully enticing Taylor to take an extra half a step on his lead and see if Robbie uses that snap throw now.
There it is. Set him up for that nicely. Davey Lopes, former Dodger legend, coaching at first. He and Dusty were longtime teammates in LA, of course. Robbie had Taylor going back to the bag to first on that move. And it's 1-0 on Severino.
Well, you mentioned Davey Lopes, the first base coach for the Nationals. He's been around the game forever, but he was also the first base coach for the Padres when I was managing the Diamondbacks. Gracie came in one inning and said, "I don't know if this do you any good, Skipper, but Lopes just stands in the coach's box and he'll yell, 'Run on this pitch.' Do you want to know?" I said, "Yeah, I'd like to know. If you hear him say that, you know, what's your sign going to be?" He said, "Well, I'll slap my glove on my right leg." So, you know, Davey would yell at the runner, "Okay, run on this pitch," and Gracie would slap his leg and we would pitch out. And we caught a couple of Padres base runners before they caught on, and Davey never did it again.
Why did they think that would work in the first place?
I don't know. You know, sometimes that old school stuff, that Rocky Bridges school of baseball, everybody knows you're going to run. Just go run. Go. They still have to make a good throw to get you out at second base.
Robbie has already walked 2 in the inning. 3 runs are in. He's behind on Severino, 3-0. With a pitcher, Joe Ross, on deck. Trying to get out of this 4th. Third walk in the inning for Robbie Ray, and he's having one of those innings where it just all gets away from him. But as you said, the pitch to Taylor certainly wasn't a bad pitch, but he's really having trouble throwing strikes after cruising through the first 7 batters before Severino's homer. Tied the game at 1, and now it's 4-1. Here's the pitcher, Ross. '25th pitch of this inning on the way from Robbie Ray. That's basically half his pitches in a ball game have come in this 4th inning. And Taylor, who runs very well, is at second, so anything that might squirt through the infield will certainly make it 5-1. Taylor at second. The catcher Severino at first. The 1-1 to Joe Ross. In there for a strike, 1-2. Type of crowd he got today. Fielden Culbreth is going to hear all those assistant umpires around him.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear individual conversations in the ballpark on a day like this.
Nice block by Tuffy. That ball hit way out in front of home plate.
It's the first time Robbie's done that today, spiked that slider, but that's become a little too frequent lately for me. One thing to throw it in the dirt, but lately he's thrown it 4 or 5 feet in front of home plate. 60 pitches, 35 strikes. Fastball missed, and he's gone full on the pitcher, 3-2. He's already walked 3 in the inning. Silvino Bracho warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Trey Turner on deck. He would be next. This will get the runners started. Taylor from second and Severino from first. Bracho warming up quickly down there. There go the runners. There's a tapper in the hole. Lamb in front of Owings. And he's safe. And how about that? Taylor hustles all the way in from second and scores. 5-1 Nationals. Michael Taylor never stopped running, coming around third. And that turns into an infield RBI single for the pitcher Ross.
I gotta believe the Diamondbacks are going to want to review this. I mean, Goldie just started jogging off the field. The first baseman's usually the first guy to know whether you got him or not. And a tip of the cap to Joe Ross for hustling down the line.
Back of the glove is when it's an out. Right. No, there. When it's in the back of the pocket, in the webbing. That's considered the end of the play right there.
Yeah, he's out.
Headsets come on for the second time of the ball game. Nationals won a challenge. Now it's the Diamondbacks' turn. This is a quick one. Yep, he is out. So take the run off the board, and that ends the inning. But the Nationals take a 4-1 lead.
trail the Nationals 4-1.
Hey fans, a D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
New pitcher for Washington as we start the 5th inning. It's the veteran left-hander Sean Burnett. Just 8 appearances this year, a 2.08 ERA. He's back in Washington. Spent 4 seasons here from 2009 through 2012. And he's often been considered one of the best lefty relievers in team history. A rough bottom 4 for Robbie Ray. He walked 3 in the inning. 2 of those walks scored. An RBI ground out by Danny Espinosa. 2-run single by Michael Taylor. Following the Pedro Severino home run in the 3rd. And now it's 4-1 as we start the 5th. D-backs got their run in the top of the 3rd. A Jake Lamb RBI single. Big 2-out hit for Jake. D-backs had a 1-0 lead. The Severino homer tied it. And now it's 4-1. Ray, Segura, and Owings 9-1-2 in the Arizona 5th. Tapper back to Burnett. He throws him out. 1 down. That'll bring up Gene Segura, who's having another good day. Gene has walked, singled, stolen a base, and scored a run. Now at 201 hits, 5 back of Gonzo's single season D-backs record of 206, which was set in 1999. He's got 8 hits in the series. 3 of them are home runs.
My favorite, though, had to be the first pitch of the game from Max Scherzer the other night.
Over the bullpen.
You want to talk about an ambush. Gene made up his mind. I'm going to get a first pitch fastball, and if it's close to the zone, I'm going to murder it.
He clubbed it. And as you said earlier, he's now one of only 14 players in baseball history with at least 200 hits, 20 home runs, and 30 stolen bases. The last one to do that, Jacoby Ellsbury for the Red Sox 5 years ago. 1-2. What a season it's been. 20 home runs, 32 stolen bases, leading the league in hits. Spectacular defense. He strikes out against Burnett. 2 down. Here comes Dusty as Chris Owings will be the hitter. Trying to make sure that he gets through 5 innings with a lead, make it an official game in case the weather starts worsening. So he's going to pull his left-hander with Owings coming up back after this.
Washington 4-1. Hey fans, final giveaway of the season is coming up Saturday. First 10,000 fans 21 and older will get the D-backs beer stein. That's courtesy of Budweiser. Saturday, October 1st. D-backs and the Padres at 5:10 start. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. We'll see you at Chase Field for the final series of the year. 3 against the Padres starting tomorrow. Beer stein on Saturday. And then the series finale on Sunday. This is the very hard throwing right-hander Ronaldo Lopez. And he has put up some big strikeout numbers. 40 strikeouts in less than 40 innings. Made his major league debut in the middle of July against the Dodgers and struck out 9 Dodgers in only 4 2/3. Chris Owings squibs the first one up the middle. Espinosa behind the bag throws him out. And that's the end of the top of the 5th. Home half coming up. Diamondbacks trail it 4-1.
One time to take a look at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. 1971. Expos second baseman Ron Hunt got hit by a pitch for the 50th time that season. Obviously establishing a major league record. Just as a point of comparison, the second guy in the National League getting hit by a pitch was a teammate, Rusty Staub, got hit 9 times.
9 times for the Expos.
Yeah.
It's Expos de Montreal. Trey Turner leads off the bottom of the 5th. He's 0 for 2. How about that? Nicely done.
Nice grab.
I still think those were the best uniforms in baseball history. Those old Park Jarry Expos uniforms. Early 70s. Later years they got pinstripes and all that stuff when they had Gary Carter and the Hawk Andre Dawson. But the Rusty Staub Ron Hunt Expo uniforms, those are my favorites. Gene Mauch managing up there in the snow. And now here they are as the Washington Nationals.
My favorite uniform was always the one that was hanging in my locker.
Well, they'll all work. Although your Phoenix Giants unis have come to be.
I'll tell you what, though, at the time we were so different, kind of like the D-backs this year. We're so different from everybody else in the Coast League. Yeah, we kind of embraced it.
Headed for the right field corner. Brito gives it a look, but it's out of play. He's taking credit for a ball that he dropped. That doesn't seem very fair.
Be a relative of the guy in San Diego that took one off the chest down the right field line.
That's one of the best ones of the year. Hit right in the belt buckle. 3-2.
Same guy. Here we go. Get ready again. But Brito's got it in fair territory. Socrates Brito deep in that right field corner. One down in the 5th. Brings up Wilmer Defoe. He's got the right helmet on this time.
It's a start.
Yeah. He's 0 for 2 though. Last time the switch hitter went up there with the wrong helmet on. The ear flap was on the inside, which really doesn't protect you all that much when you're batting right-handed. Defoe drives one deep to left field, and that one is going to go. Wilmer Defoe. That's his first major league homer. And it's 5-1 Washington. We showed a little bit of pop, 6 home runs in just over 100 games in AA this year. He's more of a speed guy, but he takes that one out of here through the rain.
Nothing tricky, a four-seam fastball inside part of the plate, and Defoe barreled it up.
First career homer for Wilmer Defoe. Second home run of the ball game allowed by Robbie Ray. And here's Jason Worth, who has popped up, walked, and scored a run. Boy, Robbie looked terrific. Retired the first 7 batters he faced. A 9-pitch first, a 9-pitch second. Severino homered in the 3rd, the only hit and base runner in that inning. But then the wheels really fell off in the 4th. A walk, a single, another walk, an RBI ground out. 2-run single, another base on balls. As the Nationals got 3 in the 4th, and now they get 1 in the 5th on the Defoe homer. 0-2 on Worth. This one's in the air, right center field. Haniger and Brito out there. And Mitch has got it for out number 2. That'll bring up Anthony Rendon. Rendon has struck out, singled, and scored a run. He's 1 for 2. He's got 4 hits in the series. On Rendon. Robbie has walked 3 in the ball game, all 3 walks in the 4th inning. Silvino Bracho was warming up earlier. Now Zach Godley will get busy. Four-pitch walk to Rendon. Robbie has struck out 3, walked 4, and given up 2 homers. Ryan Zimmerman, a base on balls his last time up. He's 0 for 1. Zimmerman knocks it into right field. It bounces in front of Brito. And the Nationals suddenly, with a run already in, have 2 on and 2 outs for Espinosa. Espinosa, an RBI ground out his last time up. He's 0 for 2, and that's going to be it for Robbie Ray, perhaps. Yep, Chip Hale wants the right-hander Godley. Well, this one got away from Robbie in a hurry. We'll sort it out when we come back. D-backs trailing in Washington 5-1.
bit for himself in the top half of the inning and then pull it.
Five-one bottom five, and your Arizona Federal Credit Union pitching change gives us Zach Godley now 5-4, a 6.19 ERA. Zach was the winning pitcher here Monday. 3 innings of scoreless relief. He allowed only 1 hit with 3 strikeouts. This is his 4th appearance on the road trip.
His last 5 outings, he's been very good. 9 innings in those 5 outings. Struck out 12, allowed only 2 earned runs.
He'll work to Danny Espinosa with 2 on and 2 out and 1 run already in on the Defoe homer. That's Wilmer Defoe's first career home run, and that gentleman apparently caught it, and now the negotiations are underway. Defoe homered with 1 out. Rendon walked with 2 outs. Zimmerman singled. And here's Espinosa, who's 0 for 2. Espinosa will now bat left-handed. He's a switch hitter against the righty Godley. Well, you think you're having a bad month? Danny Espinosa is 9 for 79 in September.
Ouch.
9 for 79. That's about a 110 batting average.
That's cross up right there. Tuffy looked like he was anticipating a breaking ball working down and into Espinosa, and Godley instead threw him a 2-seam fastball that was sinking back out over the plate. Tuffy got crossed up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
my bad.
Yeah, that's on me.
Now I get it. Okay, I got the sequence. The light bulb just went on.
Oh, we are only 159 games into the season.
This is number 159. After this one, 3 more against the Padres at Chase Field starting tomorrow night. And you close the book on 2016. 2 on, 2 out, 1-1 to Danny Espinosa. Can't check his swing of the curveball, and it's 1-2.
Well, we laugh a little bit about it because no damage was done. The runners couldn't advance, but some pitchers really do have problems with the signs. You have to keep them very simple for some guys. The first sign you see or the last sign you see, if you get any more complicated than that, their brain gets too filled up and they tend to cross up catchers and throw balls to the backstop. And I'm not saying Zach Godley's one of those guys, but some pitchers do that.
Well, they stuck with the curveball and struck out Espinosa. But the Nationals add another run on the Defoe homer, his first career home run, and it's 5-1 Washington.
When the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. All you have to do is enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Reynaldo Lopez, the right-hander, back out there to start the 6th inning. With the D-backs trailing 5-1, it'll be Paul Goldschmidt, Jake Lamb, and Brandon Drury, 3, 4, and 5. Goldie has struck out, flying out. He's 0 for 2, and there's strike 1. Ball with 2 hits in the series, both singles. A couple of RBIs in the ball game last night. Curveball missed. It's a ball and a strike. Up the middle and into center. Leadoff single for Goldie. Jake Lamb now. Jake had a big 2-out RBI single in the 3rd. That opened up the scoring. It was 1-0 Diamondbacks. Nationals tied it in the bottom of the 3rd on the Pedro Severino solo homer. Then they added 3 in the 4th and 1 in the 5th. Jake has 4 hits in the series, including a double and a home run. He's also walked 3 times in the series. He had a pretty impressive base on balls his first at bat last night against the left-hander Gio Gonzalez when Jake was behind in the count, worked it back full and took a walk. Very good at bat, good approach against the left-hander Gonzalez. Takes a fastball, 1-1. Nationals have the shift on. That one almost went to the backstop, a changeup that got away from Lopez, and it's 2-1. Rendon, the third baseman, in the shortstop spot. Espinosa, the shortstop, on the first base side, is second. Fastball missed. 3 balls and a strike. D-backs need some base runners here. Goldie 1 stolen base away from 30 for the season. And that's a base on balls. First 2 have reached in the Diamondbacks 6th. That'll bring up Brandon Drury. Mike Maddox, the pitching coach, out to talk to Reynaldo Lopez. Drury has grounded out, struck out. He's 0 for 2. Lopez has shown some very impressive flashes this year. He mentioned his major league debut right after the All-Star break. That was against the Dodgers. He went 4 2/3 and had 9 strikeouts. And then last month, the middle of August, he became just the 4th rookie in Nationals history to strike out at least 10 batters in a game. That was at Atlanta. On in a relief role here today. He's got Goldie at second, Lamb at first, nobody out. Goldie getting a huge secondary lead down there at second base. Brandon ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. Lopez does get erratic. He throws hard. He strikes out a lot of guys. He also walks a lot of guys. And it seems like he's the type against whom you go up there and make him throw you a strike before you start swinging. So far, he's thrown more balls than strikes today. Foul ground, first base side. Zimmerman. What a play. That was a tremendous play. It's up in that wind, which is blowing the ball back toward the field, away from the seats, and Ryan Zimmerman snagged it.
We've seen both first basemen make a nice play on a wind-blown pop-up. This time Zimmerman has to dive back toward the field. Wilmer Depot sliding in on a knee. Tried to get underneath there, but Zimmerman makes the play, quickly gets it back in to hold Goldie at second base.
There's no wind here. That's probably in the seats. Nice look there by Zimmerman. Mitch Haniger has walked and grounded out. He's 0 for 1. There's a strike. Mitch still with just 1 hit in the series. That was his home run Monday. His 4th of the year. 3 for 28 on this road trip. Knocks that into center. Here comes Turner, and he's got it. Socrates Brito. 0 for 2. Washington bullpen will get busy. Silvino Bracho, who was warming up earlier in the ball game, has started warming up again in the Diamondback bullpen. Randall Delgado will get busy as well. Brito ahead 2-0. Lopez still with more balls than strikes. No, we didn't, says C.B. Bucknor, and it's 3-0. Not even close.
No, the upper body turned, but the bat stayed back. Clearly.
Another long set by Lopez. And Brito hits it on the ground. Defoe is there with a tremendous play. And he throws him out to end the inning. Wilmer Defoe, his first major league home run in this ball game today. And he makes a nice play at second base to end the top of the sixth. Diamondbacks are down 5-1. Well, a drizzle all day long here, a wind blowing in strong from the right field corner, and it kept it in the ballpark for Goldie. And you can see the reaction off the bat of Jason Worth as Michael A. Taylor leads off the bottom of the sixth with a leadoff single against Zach Godley. That was our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing cool play of the game. Goldie with that nice catch to and the bottom of the first in foul ground. But Taylor has a single to start the sixth. Pedro Severino, the catcher, has walked and homered. Second hit of the ball game for Michael A. Taylor. That was a weird little swing there. He sort of took a running start and then kind of waved at it. 1-2 now.
Severino's thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
What did I just do?
Yeah. And I think, yeah, Field and Culbreth is telling everybody it's 2-1, not 1-2. Yeah, he took the pitch, it hit the ground, and then he swung. It was very unusual. And now he's explaining to Chip Hale why it's 2-1 and not 1-2. Let's take a look. Watch how late this swing is. Checks, and then swings again. So it is a count of 2 balls and 1 strike. Or 2-0 maybe. No, 2-1. 2-1. There we go. Everybody's confused down there. But, good job by Field and Culbreth. He corrected that quickly, promptly. Long set by Godley. Taylor can really run down there at first. Taylor getting a big lead over there, and there he goes. Right back to the mound. Godley looked back to second, knocked it down, and recovers in time. But Zach was looking back to second base when the ball reached his glove. Taylor got a big jump that time.
He was looking back to second, then realized he didn't have the baseball at all. Recovers in time to get the out at first base, but he's got a little too far ahead of himself that time.
The pitcher, Reynaldo Lopez. We have a security issue on the field, BB. I hate to.
We do.
Yeah, well, there's a superhero down by the Diamondback bullpen who's given some of the D-backs a hard time. He's kind of the assistant coaching down there. It turns out it's actually Spider-Man, Peter Parker, with the day off. And he's using that Spidey sense to give it to the Diamondbacks relief corps down there. So he decided he'd get up this morning, skip work, put on a Spider-Man outfit, and heckle the opposing bullpen. That's time well spent.
Sounds like a fun day.
Sure. So there's Spidey heckling the Diamondback relievers. 4-3 putout puts Taylor at third with 2 down for Trey Turner. And now the security is talking to Spider-Man and telling him to knock it off. First a photo op. Drop that changeup in there.
It's not every day you go to the ballpark and run into a superhero.
Well, there was a security officer underneath Spider-Man telling him to sort of cool it, I think, and now he'll make his escape. Not quite as the way you see it in the movies. You know, he'd be swinging around on the web, swinging out of there. Instead, he'll just walk up the aisle.
I've got a sneaking suspicion that that's not the real Spider-Man.
Now, come on. What makes you say that? He's getting a lot of attention.
Isn't that the whole point?
Yeah, see, this is actually the point, I think, right there. How'd you meet him? Well, he was at the game wearing a Spider-Man outfit, and we just sort of hit it off. All right. Curveball from Godley, and Turner's down 1-2. Called strike 3. Dropped the curveball in there and rings up Turner, who's 0 for 4. We'll head to the 7th in DC. See you, Spidey. bad stuff has held on. 7th inning, D-backs trail at 5-1. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. We're on an airplane. Headed home after this one, after a long road trip. The final series of the year, 3 against the Padres. Braden Shipley and Edwin Jackson tomorrow night. D-backs Bierstein on Saturday. Archie Bradley against the lefty Clayton Richard. And then the final game of the year on Sunday, Matt Cook. He'll get the start against Paul Clemens. Matt Cook, who had 5 no-hit innings here the other night. So he'll get his second start to wrap up the year. Tuffy Gozowich leads off the 7th against Reynaldo Lopez. Clint Robinson checks into the game. He'll take over at first base for Ryan Zimmerman. Tuffy gets this in the air to center field for Trey Turner. Phil Gosselin will hit for Zach Godley. Phil batting .278 and 2 homers. He popped up trying to bunt as a pinch hitter. And that ended Tuesday's game, his only at bat in the series. There's Robinson at first base now for Zimmerman. Two on Phil Gosselin.
Hard to believe that hit an empty seat.
It almost hit that big chicken down there wearing a raincoat, dressed like the Gordons of Gloucester fishermen. That's actually Screech the Eagle, who's often confused on social media with the chicken. And when you see him, you can understand why. There he looks like he should be on the box of some fish sticks or something. Or chicken tenders maybe, but there is a Screech the Owl. As Steve Gilbert tweeted out last night, the big chicken says that the start of the game has been delayed. He's almost as popular as Spider-Man.
Almost.
There's no dinger. But it's good to see that Screech is appropriately dressed. Or Jody's down there wearing a bag over her head. I think she's actually in the dugout now, staying dry. Danny Espinosa, the shortstop. Gene Segura, the pursuit of Gonzo continues. Gene has walked, singled, and struck out. He's 1 for 2. He scored a run. Gene now with 201 hits on the year. That's the most in the National League. 5 behind Gonzo's team record set in 1999. So that'll be front and center all weekend long at Chase Field against the Padres. Come on out, dbacks.com/tickets, and see if Gene Segura can get his hits and threaten Gonzo's record. We'll have to have Gonzo in the booth maybe to check in if we can tear him away from his other duties.
Yeah, he's a busy man.
He is. Find out how he feels about Gene Segura chasing his record.
What happened here?
Yeah, he hurt himself on that swing. Comes Ryan DePanfilo, the assistant trainer out there with Chip Penn. He doesn't want to come out.
Just leaned out of the way of a pitch that was up and in, and then kind of grabbed at his right side, right rib cage area.
And that's going to be it for Gene Segura. It's cold and damp here today, and if he's got a muscle pull in there, continue to playing would just be foolish. So he'll come out of the ball game with a 1-1 count.
Well, you could really send up anybody you want to pinch hit right here. You've got Phil Gosselin technically in the game as the pinch hitter for the pitcher spot. He could easily plug in at second base. So you don't necessarily have to hit an infielder here. Well, hopefully that's nothing too serious.
It wasn't even on a swing unless he had injured it in a previous at bat or something and it had been nagging him a bit, but he just stepped back and took a pitch and suddenly that was it. And here comes somebody out of the dugout. Peter O'Brien. So Peter O'Brien, good call, BB. He will finish the at bat for Gene Segura with 2 outs and a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. We'll see if Pete can connect and send one out of here. He's batting 143 on the year with 5 homers. He popped up as a pinch hitter in the series opener Monday. And he's only had, Peter O'Brien, 6 at bats since he rejoined the team earlier this month. And so far he's doubled and homered.
Obligatory mound visit for a pinch hitter.
Mike Maddox, the pitching coach.
I think baseball ought to go to the system that some of the college football teams use, where they hold up pictures on the sidelines of Elvis and a bicycle and different things to call plays. It sure would speed up the game a lot more than having the pitching coach go to the mound every time there's a pinch hitter.
Well, or you limit, as they've talked about, limit reliever use and mound visits as the game becomes more and more bullpen dominant. There's a strike and it's 1-2. Games really get bogged down the last 3 innings when the bullpens take over. Lopez just cranks it up and strikes out O'Brien. Ends up being a 1-2-3 inning. Bottom 7 coming up. It's 5-1 Washington. Our Gila River game summary. Gene Segura just had to leave the ball game with an undisclosed injury. A couple of home runs for the Nationals. Solo shots by Pedro Severino and Wilmer Defoe. Defoe's first career home run. As Robbie Ray had a rocky 4th inning. As we start start the home half of the 7th. The new pitcher for the Diamondbacks is the right-hander Silvino Bracho. 24 appearances over 3 different stints with the D-backs this year. A 7.83 ERA. He worked a scoreless inning Monday against the Nationals. Had a walk and a strikeout. Phil Gosselin takes over at second base for Segura. He'll bat 9th. That's where he hit for Robbie Ray. So the pitcher spot is now the leadoff spot for the Diamondbacks. And here is Defoe. His last at bat, his first major league homer off Robbie Ray. I'm told by our producer Brad the Big Dog Weimer that we'll see it after this pitch. It'll be our Cox Gig Life high-speed highlights. As the communication from the truck continues to be excellent, despite Phil the Iron Horse Malika mucking things up. As Haniger has that one, I'm totally cool. And here is Wilmer Defoe's first big league homer. And the funny thing was, in his previous at bat, he's a switch hitter. He had gone up to bat with the wrong helmet on. He had the right helmet that time and the right swing. Jason Worth then. Worth walked and scored in the 4th. He's 0 for 2. Still looking for his first base hit in this series. He is 0 for 10. You looked at some of the forecasts and the Dopplers and all that stuff, you would have said there is no way you're getting that game in on Thursday. Flood warnings and flood watches for 2 whole days.
Well, we heard it before we even left Baltimore that we were going to have trouble in D.C. with the weather. And last night, certainly we did. Long rain delay before the game was finally declared over and official. And we didn't even think they were going to open the gates today.
Yeah, there was that opportunity. And a flood watch has been in effect and is still in effect in the D.C. area from 6 o'clock last night all the way through tomorrow morning. They've had flood warnings in some areas, flood watches in others. But by some miracle, we've been able to play this game here today. The last road game of the 2016 season. Diamondbacks 30 and 48 at home. 36 and 44 on the road this year. So if this score holds up, it'll be 36 and 45 away from Chase Field. Worth gets this one in the air for Drury. Brandon coming in, Owings drifting out there. It's in the wind, and CO has got it, and that's the second out. I mentioned earlier how far back Brandon Drury has played left field all year long. He was so far back there that Owings had to go way out halfway to left to get that one.
And as you mentioned earlier, that's by design, just until Brandon gets more comfortable playing in the outfield. But when you know your left fielder or your right fielder is going to be playing extremely deep, as the infielder on that side of the field, you have to know that you're going to have to run out there a lot farther than you normally would to chase some pop-ups. And that time Chris Owings got out to the spot, had to chase it around a little bit in the wind, but ultimately made the play.
Bracho drops a slider in there to Anthony Rendon for strike one. Yeah, Brandon Drury has played with his heels on the warning track all season long in the outfield. He wasn't even in the picture on that last replay we saw when Owings drifted out there. That's how far back he is. Try it one more time. Coming in again. Left center field. Boy, it's an adventure out there with this wind. But Bracho works a 1-2-3-7. We hit the 8th. D-backs down 5-1. Backs trailing 5-1. Tomorrow, the final brand new episode of Cup of Coffee with Shelby Miller. We sat down earlier this year, talked about Shelby's wife, his dogs, presidential names, weird movies, growing up in Texas. We went all over the place, BB. I just trying to follow along. Don't miss Cup of Coffee, brought to you by CenturyLink tomorrow, 5:30 and 10:30 on Fox Sports Arizona.
How was that sandwich? That looks pretty good right about now.
Oh, yeah, the food is great there. I spent the rest of the year trying to get my hair like Shelby has his hair. Didn't work. Chris Owings. Yeah, that's we do that right at the corner, across, sort of across the street from the Suns arena. They do a great job for lunch down there. Anthony Rendon. Owings 1 for 4. There's Goldie, who singled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Got 3 hits in the series, all singles. Shelby has weird tastes in movies. I couldn't keep up with what he was talking about.
No?
Yeah. And he's never heard of anything before 1992. Like zero. I gave him all these classic movies. What? Never heard of that. Who's in that? You know, he's more like a Bill and Ted's Adventure kind of guy. Weekend at Bernie's. You know, you drop Ben-Hur on him, or
Gone with the Wind.
Dr. Zhivago,
Yeah.
right? No clue. He's got the same taste in movies that Goldie has. Goldie loves those silly movies. You know, all the Will Ferrell type movies and the Adam Sandler ones. Those are Goldie's movies of choice. He likes those comedies. That's hard hit, and a nice catch by Michael A. Taylor in right. A line drive, and he picks it off the ground for the second out. That ball was smoked.
Yeah, it really was. That's all you can do as a hitter. We talk about it all the time. Get a good pitch to hit, put a good swing on it. Rope line drive into right field. Michael Taylor with a nice diving catch. If that gets by him, Goldie ends up at least at third base. Taylor was coming way in as he made that catch. There was nobody behind him all the way out to the Nationals bullpen in right field.
Well, that's now 8 straight set down by Reynaldo Lopez. Jake Lamb has had an RBI single and a base on balls. Jake 4 hits in the series. I see Jody has emerged from the dugout again. She's braving the elements down there. I fingers crossed. Can we go down to Jody? Has it actually stopped raining?
It has stopped raining. It just stopped just now. Yeah, I have to be honest. I did retreat to the press box briefly.
Well, yeah. I mean,
you know,
miserable out there.
Yeah, but it's actually decent right now. It's not even having that misty kind of drizzle. So we've been lucky, guys.
Misty kind of drizzle. I call that as a band name.
Misty kind of drizzle.
Yeah.
I'd just go with drizzly mist.
Oh, that's better. See, that's, yeah. You took it next level. Drizzly mist opening up for something else, for Gordon Lightfoot. Daniel Hudson warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. That one gets away from Severino. Lamb offered, and they'll complete the strikeout. Well, that's 9 straight set down by Lopez. He ends the top of the 8th inning. D-backs are trailing 5-1.
Diamondbacks trail the Nationals 5-1 as we start the bottom of the game. Hey, if you're like me, you want to know everything that Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe are arguing about as they go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. It's Undisputed with Skip and Shannon every weekday morning at 6:30, only on FS1. New pitcher for the D-backs, it's Daniel Hudson. Career high 66 appearances, the ERA just over 5.5. Huddy got the last 4 outs of a win at San Diego last Wednesday for his 4th save of the year, but then Friday at Baltimore, the home run to Matt Wieters to lead off the 9th inning. That tied the game, a blown save for Huddy, his 2nd this season. Clint Robinson, his first at bat today, and he drives it right at Mitch Haniger in center. It almost carried over his head, and that's out number 1. Robinson is retired. Here's Danny Espinosa. Espinosa drove in a run with a ground out in the 4th. He's 0 for 3. Adding 207 on the year. He's 0 for 11 in the series. As he steps in right here, he's 9 for 80 in September. How we looking? Left-hander Oliver Perez, the former Diamondback, is warming up in the Nationals bullpen. Diamondbacks in the 9th. They'll have Brandon Drury, Mitch Haniger, and Socrates Brito 5, 6, and 7. Fielding Culberth is okay.
I don't know that he's okay, but he's waving everybody off. He doesn't want any more delays here. This one got a big bite of him. Pitch it out in front of home plate, gets him right in the right bicep that time. No protection there at all.
Well, in his case, maybe a little.
No, the right bicep.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Sure. Changeup is a strike, and it's 1-2 on Espinosa. Nationals are finishing up the season with a homestand. The Miami Marlins come in here for 3 starting tomorrow. D-backs back home tomorrow night. First of 3 against the Padres, the final series of the year at Chase Field. 2-2. Marlins. It's going to be a difficult series for them. They're out of postseason contention. There are funeral services today for Jose Fernandez, so they go to the funeral today and then come in here for what is for them a meaningless series. So that's going to be a tough weekend. In a horrible, horrible week for the Miami Marlins and all of Major League Baseball. Hudson gets the strikeout. Second time Espinosa has struck out. He's 2nd in the league in strikeouts. So there's 2 outs. Michael A. Taylor has had a good ball game. He made a terrific catch in right field in the top half of this inning. He's 2 for 3 at the plate. He's knocked in 2 runs.
And both of his hits came on the first pitch, so be careful with that first delivery here. Starting with a slider.
And lay off the slider, and it's 0-1. He's been, Michael Taylor, something of a disappointment this year. He showed some flashes last season, played in nearly 140 games with Washington as a rookie. Hit 14 home runs. He stole 16 bases. He's got power and speed. But this year he's been in the minor leagues for much of the year after he made the opening day roster. He was sent to AAA Syracuse twice. Sends this one into the gap in right center. Brito drops the ball out there, and Taylor's in at second, his 3rd hit today. Would have made second anyway. 2 singles and a double for Michael A. Taylor.
Got some backspin on that ball. Pitch down below the bottom of the strike zone. Still got underneath it. Headed out there to the gap. You're right. Brito bobbled it out there, but they had no play on Michael Taylor at second base.
The catcher, Pedro Severino, who homered in the third, is second of the year. That one coming off Robbie Ray. Slider missed, and it's 1-0. Pitcher spot up next. Stephen Drew has come out. He's in the on-deck circle. Bullpen is now real busy for the Nationals. They got a couple of right-handers throwing down there. Oliver Perez has sat down. Dodgers play later tonight at San Diego. Nationals at the start of play today had a 2-game edge on Los Angeles for home field in their division series. So it'll go to 2.5 if this score holds. Hunter Renfroe at Petco Park last night. The Padres' outstanding rookie who had a big year in AAA. Hit one onto the roof of the Western Metal Supply building in left field, the first time anyone's ever hit one on the roof, other than the home run derby. First time it's ever happened in a real game. Got a low pitch and just clubbed it onto the roof of that building. That was a landmark home run. We'll see Hunter Renfroe this weekend, so come on out and watch. He's a terrific young power hitter for the Padres. Get your tickets at dbacks.com.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Hunter Renfroe, but you mentioned the ball he pulled down the left field line on the roof of the Western Metal Supply building. I saw him hit a couple to center field. Looked like he just flicked at the ball. He got big time pop.
You bet. So we'll see you at Chase Field starting tomorrow night for the final 3 games of the year. Come out, check Hunter Renfroe out. Little swing and bunt. Hudson's got to hurry here, and Huddy's on it. That'll end the inning. They're able to strand the Taylor double. We go to the 9th in DC. Diamondbacks down 5-1. Brandon Drury, Mitch Haniger, and Socrates Brito will be the hitters in the Arizona ninth against
Reynaldo Lopez. Lopez has started much of the year. Made his major league debut in the middle of July, right after the All-Star break. He last pitched Saturday at Pittsburgh, so he hasn't pitched in a while. He actually came on to get the last out of the 5th inning. Diamondbacks led off the 6th with a single and a walk against him, and he's not allowed a base runner since. He set down 9 straight. And so Dusty Baker going to stick with Lopez. He'll keep the bullpen busy, though, as Drury leads off the 9th. Brandon so far 0 for 3. Base hit. Good start for the Diamondbacks. He knocks it into left field. Need some base runners here. Mitch Haniger now. Mitch walked in the 2nd. He's 0 for 2. His home run Monday still his only hit in the series. 3 for 29 on the road trip. This is in the air, center field. Trey Turner backing up. The wind has lessened just a bit as it stopped raining as well. That's the first out. Mark Melancon, their ace closer, who got the save 2 nights ago, is 44th, is warming up in the Nationals bullpen as Socrates Brito steps in. Here's Melancon. Not too many around better than him. Brito 0 for 3. Center field again. This is hit pretty well. Trey Turner looking up, and it is gone. A home run for Socrates Brito. That's number 4. And the Diamondbacks are still alive. It's a 5-3 ball game.
First time through the lineup, the Diamondbacks weren't making loud contact against Lopez, but a hard line drive into left field, and then Socrates Brito going oppo. He hit that ball a long way.
Sure did. Dusty Baker's got Melancon ready, and he's going to bring him in right here. He's seen enough. Trying to get that extra inning out of Lopez, but it was one too many. A jumbo jack off the bat of Socrates Brito has pulled the Diamondbacks within 2. Back from Washington after this. in the division series against the Dodgers. Goes to his closer, Mark Melancon, acquired from the Pirates at the end of June. He's third in the National League with those 44 saves. And since he became a Washington National, he's 14 for 15 in his save opportunities. He got number 44 here Tuesday night.
Well, basically a cutter changeup combination from Melancon. He'll roll an occasional curveball up there to try to steal a strike, but everything is going to be cutting away from the right-handers.
Tuffy Gozowish's spot is due up, but here comes big Kyle Jensen. As Jensen will hit for Gozowish with a 1 out in the 9th and 2 runs in on the Brito homers, 4th of the year. Kyle popped up in a pinch hit appearance Monday in the series opener. He's 1 for 13 on the road trip. And an RBI triple in San Diego last week. Fastball missed, and it's 1-0. Jensen in there at 179. He's homered twice. Both times off left-hand pitchers Madison Bumgarner and Rich Hill. That's the Melancon cutter, which will move laterally away from the right-hand hitter, from the right-hand pitcher. Almost like a slider. Big curveball, drops it in for strike 2. So he's seen everything. Fastball, cutter, curveball. Went back to the curveball, and it's 2-2. Throwing 1 for a strike and then try and get him to chase another one.
Well, what a luxury to be able to command your third best pitch, throw it for a strike when you want to, bounce it in the dirt when you want to.
He's one of the best in the business, Mark Melancon. And there's that fastball. Well, at one point, Melancon came up in the Yankees system. He was going to be the next Mariano Rivera. But it didn't quite work out. He went to the Red Sox, wound up in AAA, and was on the scrap heap for a while. But boy, he's really lived up to his potential both as a Pirate and now a National.
And really refining that cut fastball is what has made him Mariano Rivera light. Nobody throws a cutter like Mariano Rivera did, but Mark Melancon has used it to his advantage and has really become one of the best in the game.
2 down for Gosselin. Phil grounded out in his first at bats. Ball 1. Pitcher spot is up next. It's the leadoff spot. Wellington Castillo's in the on-deck circle. So looking for a base runner for Welly would be the tying run at the plate. Gosselin ahead 2-0. There's that cutter, 2-1. Back to it, but missed, and it's 3 balls and a strike on Gosselin with Castillo on deck. Rendon at third, and that'll do it. Diamondbacks threaten late on the Brito homer, but Washington salvages a split. D-backs drop their 2016 road finale 5-3 in D.C.
Well, ideally, the Diamondbacks garnered something from playing against the Orioles, a team that's involved in a pennant race, playing against the Nationals on this road team, another team involved in a pennant race. See how those guys prepare, see how they compete, because that's where the Diamondbacks want to be next year.
2 hours and 56 minutes, and the Diamondbacks